I've published a new book. It's called IELTS General Writing Practice. Now, this book is for anyone who's taking the IELTS General Training exam and would like to improve their writing score. I think this book will really help you. It's a really simple book. I just give you 2 writing models. Okay, the writing test has 2 tasks. So for task 1, I give you a 12-sentence model, and I explain what the purpose of each sentence is. And for task 2, I give you a 16-sentence model. I think these models will be really helpful for almost every question you could get on the exam. So hey, if you'd like to get a copy of my book, you can go to my website, metv.cool, and you can buy a PDF copy of my book on my website. I'll post a link to my website down there in the description. Okay, so then on my website, you just click on IELTS, and then you'll see my book right there. All right, so for each question in my book, I give you, 4 parts. There's the question and tips on how to answer, what the best strategy would be to answer that question, and then key terms, which is vocabulary, right, that I use in my answer. And then the last thing is my answer. Okay, so I think this will be really helpful for you to see some sample questions and to see how I would answer the questions. I think my answers would get a 9, but I'm not sure. I've never taken the exam before, but I think if I took the IELTS exam, I would get a really good score. I'm a good English writer. I don't know how to write in any other languages, so I take my hat off to you because you can probably write in your own language and in English. That is amazing. That is so great. All right, so like I said, there are 2 tasks on the IELTS writing part, and the first task in the general training test is writing a letter. Do you know how to write a letter? I teach you how to write good letters in my book. Okay, and task 2 is writing an essay. Do you know how to write an essay? Now, to be honest, I don't know why writing an essay is on the general training test, because we don't write essays in real life. I never write essays in my day-to-day life. Nobody does. Essays are always an academic thing. So sure, you should write essays on the academic test, but not on the general test. So I think this is really bad. To be honest, I don't think the IELTS writing test is very good. The speaking, I think, is great. Listening, reading, that's great. But the writing, I'm not a big fan of. Okay, handwriting, so many other tests around the world use a computer to write. For example, the CELPIP exam here in Canada, that writing part is much better than the IELTS. Okay, so if you like typing, maybe you should take the CELPIP exam if you're in Canada instead of the IELTS. But hey, maybe you need the IELTS for anything else around the world, in which case you have to practice your handwriting, your spelling, all of that. Okay, so for task 1, you need at least 150 words. Okay, so in my 12-sentence model that I give you, you should get that easily, very easily in 12 sentences. Okay, now I want to ask you, how long are your sentences? Have you ever counted the words in your sentences before? You should count them and see how many words you have. I would say short sentences have less than 10 words. Medium sentences have maybe between 10 and 20 words, and long sentences have more than 20 words. Now, you should know how to write long sentences. You should have sentence variety in your answers. Some long sentences, some medium, some short. But you should know how to write long sentences. Maybe have 2 or 3 really long sentences in your answer, then I think you'll get a much better score. Okay, so let's say your average sentence is 15 words, okay, times 12 sentences. That would give you 180 words in your answer. That would be great. Now let's say your average words a little bit more, maybe 17 words per sentence times 12 sentences. That would be about 200 words. Okay, that's great. I mean, that's quite a bit. You only need 150, but you can write however many you want. Okay, but you shouldn't waste too much time trying to make your answer too long. Okay, but 12 sentences is a good amount when you're writing a letter. Okay, if you write fewer than 12 sentences, that's very hard. How can you write a letter in, only a few sentences? Okay, so I think 12 sentences is the perfect amount for task 1. Now let's look at task 2. Okay, task 2, you need at least 250 words. Okay, so I give you the 16 sentence model. Now let's say your average sentence has 15 words. Times 16 sentences, that's only 240 words. That's a little bit too short, and you're going to get a penalty if you write under 250 words. Okay, but let's say your average words, let's say 17 words per sentence, then that's perfect. Okay, then you have about 270 words. That is great. I think most of your sentences will be more than 15 words, actually. I mean, my average sentence would be like 20 words or more. But I know I'm a native English speaker, and I've done so many English writing tasks in my life. Okay, so I'm a good writer. So I don't know. Are you a good writer? Maybe your sentences will be 15 words, maybe 17 words. But that's why I want you to pay attention to the number of words in your sentences so that you don't get this penalty. Okay, on the exam, you don't have time to count all your words. So you need to count your sentences. Okay, so you need to know about how many words just by looking at your number of sentences. Okay, so I think it's very easy to write sentences that have 17 words. So you should learn how to write long sentences. Even if you only have 2 or 3 long sentences and the rest of your sentences are like 15 words, that will put you over the 250. Okay, so that's great. You only need a few long sentences in your answer. Okay, now my book has some grammar tips, things on how to, just common mistakes that people make. Capitalization, punctuation, like commas, different grammar stuff. Okay, so I think it'll be very helpful for you. But my book is not an English writing book. Okay, so if you don't know how to write English sentences, first you should learn English, then you should study for IELTS. I think a lot of people search for things like, what grammar do I need for the IELTS exam? Well, there is no such thing as IELTS grammar. Okay, if you learn English grammar, you will improve your IELTS score. Okay, so learn English first and then start studying for IELTS. Okay, you should search on Google for things like this: English capitalization exercises. Okay, you'll find lots of websites with great exercises on capitalization. So many people make mistakes with capitalization, and it's such an easy thing to fix. Okay, or English grammar exercises, English spelling exercises, punctuation exercises. Okay, if you learn this stuff, your grade is going to go a lot. You're going to get much higher marks on the exam. Now, I have a lot of videos here on my YouTube channel talking about these things, right? Grammar, punctuation. If you want to check out those videos, I have a link to all my playlists down there in the description, and you can go to a playlist and watch all the videos in that playlist. And then I would say, get my book 1 month before you take the exam. Okay, just 1 month, go through the book, practice writing, practice answering all the questions, look at my answers, read my tips. I think you're going to do great. I think you'll do great. Hey, I want to know, what score are you hoping to get on the exam? I hope you get 10. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't go up to 10. It only goes till 9, right? But a lot of people want like 7.5 or 7. But let me know, what score are you hoping to get? Let me know down there in the comments, and I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.